Hi everyone, this is Balázs from RacingBrick and welcome to another episode in the Rebrickable series. If you are not familiar with it, in this series we browse the most interesting custom or alternate builds created by the community on Rebrickable and actually build them to see how they look, how they work, and most importantly, how they feel to assemble in real life. Alternate builds are quite popular because you don't need to hunt for the parts yourself, you can buy an official set and that's all you need. Sometimes the designers are more ambitious and they use multiple copies of the same set to build something bigger. LEGO released the Medieval Castle Creator 3-in-1 set back in 2021. It was quite popular on its own, it included 3 variations, and you could combine the 3 of them to a big castle. I did a tour and comparison to other similar sets a few years ago. That set became extremely popular on Rebrickable as well. There are literally hundreds of different variations on the site, single builds, double builds, even 3 or 4 sets used, a real goldmine for castle fans. Fast forward to this year, LEGO released another similar Creator 3-in-1 set, the 3-1168 Medieval Horse Knight Castle. We did not build the original variations this time, but as you see, there are 3 quite different versions to assemble: the medieval castle itself, that is a compact build that also opens up, then the medieval knight games with the 2 towers, and the town with a windmill. The set was only launched in August this year, so Rebrickable does not offer that many variations yet, but I'm sure it will be quite popular soon. Actually, there's already much more to choose from than about a month ago when we picked the one to build. This is the Horse Knight Stronghold by BrickDuvel. The designer does not have that many uploads so far, but based on the images, this one was quite promising. This alternate model uses only the parts from 2 copies of the medieval Horse Knight Castle set, but the end result looks like a completely different fortress. It's wider, taller, packed with additional structures, and has a much stronger presence than anything you can build with a single box. At first glance, it's exactly the kind of upgrade you would hope to get from a 2-set combo. The front of the stronghold is dominated by a massive gatehouse with 2 tall towers and a fully functional drawbridge. The mechanism is very similar to the one found in the official set, but it feels slightly more secure in this arrangement. The whole structure looks impressive from the outside, and finally gives this medieval theme the sense of scale many fans were asking for. Inside the towers, however, there isn't much to discover. The interiors are mostly empty, so their main purpose here is visual rather than functional. On the left side of the stronghold you will find a stable, and yes, the 2 brick-built horses make a return. Their construction is almost identical to the official models, but here they actually get proper tails and their color combination is also different. It's a fun demonstration of how much variety you can squeeze from the same parts palette. The horses fit comfortably inside the stable, there's a bit of hay for them, and the small tower sits above the structure, decorated with flags and a tree. You can put a minifigure in the tower if you remove the top section. The roof is also easily removable, maybe a bit too easily. It's a compact module, but it works well and adds a lot of medieval flavor. The right side of the build switches from animals to food preparation. The ground floor houses a small medieval kitchen, complete with hanging meat pieces, utensils and wood storage. Above that sits a dining room with a long table, chairs, plates and candles. The entire top section can be removed if you want better access to the kitchen, although the interior remains fairly tight. Still, considering the limited parts available, the designer managed to create an atmosphere that fits the theme nicely. The large structure at the back of the stronghold serves as the main keep and contains several different functions. There is a small blacksmith area, although the furnace is missing. Stairs are next to it, and on the other side there is a food storage corner or tiny food market under an overhang. There is also a target practice area on the outside. Inside the building there are 2 small rooms which could be anything from offices to sleeping quarters, depending on how you interpret them. Access is somewhat limited. On the top floor there's a larger hall with a table, chairs and even a chandelier-style decoration. Both sides of this structure open onto the ramparts, giving the whole build a proper castle layout. The portcullis is also functional, it is operated here under the roof, and we can secure it in place with this hinged part. This works well, and the roof can even be folded out slightly to provide better access. However, the assembly is not guided on the sides and can become stuck easily. So the build looks quite convincing, you can attach and detach the modules, and from this perspective, there is not much to complain about. Now, if you are familiar with this series, you know that I like to focus also on the actual building experience, because with Rebrickable MODs that part can vary a lot. And in the case of the Horse Knight Stronghold, the building experience is unfortunately the weakest part of the whole project. As impressive as the finished model looks, getting there is not that fun. Several sections are very unstable during assembly, especially the front towers, which only become solid once the very top layer connects them. Until then, they wobble, deform, or collapse with the slightest movement. There are also multiple steps where the pieces are placed without proper support, like at the very beginning, so they slide around on the table until later elements lock them in. Moving the sections requires care, as some base elements are barely connected and can detach easily. The stable is actually quite unstable. This section is called the secret wall in the description, but nothing holds it in place. You cannot slide it out because you push this unsecured assembly, but you also cannot slide it in because it simply falls out of place. Considering that the instructions cost €12, these issues are quite noticeable and they definitely reduce the enjoyment of the process. It would be nice if the designer could address the stability concerns and release an upgraded version. So here's the final verdict. The Horse Knight Stronghold looks great on display, it has scale, variety, atmosphere, and it's a huge improvement over the original set in terms of presence. If your goal is to create a larger, more imposing medieval fortress and you're happy to just pose it on a shelf, this MOD delivers exactly that. However, if you value smooth, stable and satisfying building experience, or you want something really playable, this alternate model might not be the right choice. It's fragile during assembly, fragile after assembly, and really requires a lot of patience. So folks, let me know what you think about this build. Have you tried any other alternates of the medieval Horse Knight Castle set on Rebrickable that you would recommend? Let's talk about it in the comment section. If you enjoyed this video, then please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe with notifications, as more exciting LEGO videos are coming soon. See you next time, bye bye.